2020. Today's high temperature of 80.
Repeater. BL146.2.
CQ. This is the special Thursday night Atlanta Radio Club net. This will be an informal net. We will take check-ins though, and have hopefully some good discussion. This is KE4FOV, and I'll be your net control operator. Name is Bert. We don't have but one repeater on here. The repeaters are not linked tonight, and we do not have Echo Link automatically connected. Although I suppose it would come up if anybody tried to open it. So as I said, this is an informal net. So let's go through and do a few check-ins, and all I need is your call sign and name. We're not going to bother with a lot of details tonight. Hopefully we'll have some good discussion, though.
Link connected. Kilo Juliet 4 Charlie Mike Yankee.
Okay, let's start some check-ins. You all know the drill. Key up, and this is, and then if you have no interference, it appears to be open. Go ahead and provide your call sign and name, and then we'll move on to the next check-in. This is KE4FOV Net Control. My name is Bert.
AK4XL. My name is Ben. I'm in Brookhaven.
This is N4FBN. My name is Paul.
Okay, let me acknowledge N4BFR Jim. In November 4, Foxtrot, Bravo November, Paul, NF4FBN, I believe it was. And I did not get the full call sign of the previous one, AK4L, I believe. Would you do a repeat on that?
AK4XL, Alpha Kilo 4, X-Ray Lima.
AK4 X-Ray Lima, okay. Next check-in, please go ahead.
This is KA7 UTD, name's Anthony.
Okay, that's 5. KA4 UTD, Anthony, and AK4XL. Could you give me your name one more time? Well, moving right along, are there any additional check-ins? Please call now.
Net Sunday at 8:00 p.m.
This is AJ4 CMY, Kilo Juliet 4 Charlie Mike Yankee, David and Warner Robbins on Echolink.
To check in and say hi.
AJ4 CMY, David. Hi. Okay, we're like I said, this is going to be a little bit informal, so we'll take additional check-ins later as well. So we'll start out with a few comments. First of all, yeah, the Red Cross is still closed, so we couldn't have an in-person meeting, and there's, with all the COVID issues going on, that's not such a bad idea anyway. Anyway, this is the 4th of July weekend, and so we can hopefully have some good times on our own. Jim, I understand that you are leading the charge for the Atlanta Radio Club's upcoming election. Do you have any comments you'd like to make about that right now?
Thanks, Bert. I'll go ahead. We are scheduled to have the election during the during the August meeting. Typically, July is presentment of slates, but at this point in time, we do not have a formal slate. I have heard of some things in the wind, but no one has confirmed that they have 5 folks that are ready to lead the club starting after the August meeting. So we'll keep fanning the flames and looking for a slate, and slates can be brought up at the August meeting. So if you're interested in being part of the club leadership, you can get in touch with me, you can get in touch with Newt N4EWT, or you can get in touch with our friend Greg. Greg's call sign is now, I've got to look it up, it's something short. Oh, here it is. WC4Y. He just changed his call sign. So get in touch with one of us and we'll tell you how to navigate the waters to get a slate presented at the August meeting. So no slates now, but we will be keeping working to get a slate for the August meeting. Bert, back to you, N4BFR.
Okay, Jim, thank you for that information. As the outgoing president, at least I hope I'm outgoing, I wanted everybody to know that it's quite a thrill to be involved in the club as you can be when you're part of a slate. And as president, there's a lot you can do. You can participate in all sorts of things. And I'd like to point out that while I had some issues and didn't get some things done that we had hoped were going to be done, I wanted to explain that most of that was the result of some family medical problems taking up a great deal of my time. So that's what that was all about, and I'd like to apologize for all the things I didn't get done during that time. So if anybody has any questions, if they'd like to talk to me about what it's like to be on a slate, or anything that has anything to do with ARC club, operation and so forth. I'll be glad to answer those questions over the phone or in person or whatever works out. So please feel free to contact me if you want some information. Being leadership of the club is a very enjoyable thing when you have time to do it. So moving right along. How about one more round of check-in? This is KE4FOV, net control.
BL146.2.
This is N4 EWT November 4 Echo Whiskey Tango. This is Newt, and I'm on the Echo link.
This is Kilo Golf 4 Hotel Charlie X-Ray KG4HDX, Athens, Georgia. Handle is small. This is KI4ASK, Kilo India 4 Alpha Sierra Kilo. Joe in Fayette County. Bert, I think you missed me before. Just wanted to wave and say, hey, short time tonight.
Okay, I just had a pin failure. So Joe, could you repeat your call sign?
Absolutely, Bert. It's Kilo India 4 Alpha Sierra Kilo. KI4 Ask.
Okay, and Paul, I believe, was just prior, and that was KG4H what?
Kilo Golf 4 Hotel Charlie X-Ray KG4HDX.
Kilo Golf 4 Hotel Charlie X-Ray. Thank you. Any other check-ins?
This is November 4 Echo Whiskey Tango, N4 EWT, Newt on Echo link.
Well, Newt, I'm sorry. I got you the first time. I just didn't repeat it. Sorry. Okay, well, thought I'd just give a couple of items for discussion tonight. One of the things that I've found very interesting recently, I've gotten involved in listening to some ham radio related podcasts, and that's turned out to be very interesting. Several podcasts out there, and I'll just go through some of the names of the podcasts and some of the subjects they deal with. For example, there's a podcast called Field Day Experiences, and one of their most recent podcasts talked about solder smoke and what it is like to be in the area where there's a lot of soldering going on. That's also, by the way, the name of the podcast, and Field Day Experiences was the topic of the most recent one. So Ham Nation is another one that's got some some really good things. Indoor antennas that work. Field day kits. Field day kits and more. There was one episode that was a 107-year-old Cliff Cahart. He's supposed to be the oldest ham still around. W4KKP. So has anybody else gotten into ham radio podcasts or anything similar recently? Do you have any experiences you'd like to relate? This is KE4FOV.
W4DOC repeater.
Yeah, I've got a couple that I really like. I subscribe to several of them, but my two favorites are K8MRD radio stuff. He does a lot of Parks on the Air and a bunch of other things. I find him really interesting. And the other one is N9YO. He's just moving from St. Louis to Oklahoma, and he's got some really good ones on there. He does a lot of portable operations, too. My big thing is portable operations, and those are my two favorites, KJ4CMY.
Okay, I believe that was David. Yeah, those sound interesting. You do indeed have it, Jim. Go ahead.
All right, thanks, Bert. Yeah, I'll throw in for Ham Nation. I do listen to that from time to time. I'll be honest with you, I find it spotty because to me it's like 10 different podcasts in one. You know, Bob Heil goes for a while, and then this guy goes for a while, and then we get the news. And to me, I like kind of the podcast to just be, hey, let's sit around and talk about a topic for 45 minutes or so. And I find Ham Nation to be more like a little news magazine. It is what it is. That's fine. The other one I like to listen to is 100 Watts in a Wire. Seems very relatable to me as far as the things he's working on and the things that we're doing. So those are my two suggestions. And for BFR, back to net.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Those are good good ones. One of the other ones I like is Ham Radio Workbench. They were one of the recent episodes. I think it was 105. Was all about NPR, and that's not National Public Radio. That's New Packet Radio. That's basically a ham radio IP connectivity over TDMA, and it's apparently, like most ham things, priced pretty well. It started for about $80 plus a radio, and all it takes is a Raspberry Pi, and here's the NPR, New Packet Radio modem. That's the one thing you really have to buy, even if you already have some equipment. But that sounds really interesting to me. I'd like to get involved in that one. Okay, at this point, let's see if there are any more check-ins. Okay, nothing heard. Does anybody have any other comments they'd like to make? In any other podcast you're interested in? It doesn't have to be just ham radio. That's what we're all about. But I've found several podcasts that I really like because they have good news that I've found I can generally trust. So I like to listen to, and the other good thing about podcasts is you can do it on your own schedule. You don't have to sit there and listen to it when they decide they want to talk.
Hey, Bert, this is Newt. I hope I have it in 4EWT. Yeah, I'll have to second the Solder Smoke podcast. I discovered it not too long after I discovered ham radio, and probably 2008, 2009, somewhere back then. I think it was JR that might have mentioned it on one of the drive-in conversations in the morning, but Bill Mira is his name, and he actually put out a book called Solder Smoke. He's a real interesting character. I think he worked for the State Department, traveled all around the world, and of course had ham radio as his hobby. Has all kinds of hobbies. I think he's into astronomy and other things, but wanted to second that one. He also, like everybody else, I guess, has a YouTube channel now. Anyway, that's it. It's for EWT. Back to net control.
Okay, Newt, thanks for those comments. If you're new to podcasts, haven't done very much with them, there's a bunch of apps out there for your phone. The one I use is called Player FM. It's free and easy to use, and will allow you to download podcasts and listen to them at your convenience. I've been real happy with that.
BL146.2.
Well, does anybody have any other topics they'd like to bring up? Please call Net Control now. This is KE4FOV.
Yeah, I have a question I'd like to ask everybody. How was your field day? Mine was great. I was out in the backyard, portable, because I do not have a permanent antenna up yet. I only made about 10 contacts, but I had fun, and that's the main thing that I like about field day. I think we're pretty much all in the same boat, so I'd like to find out how everyone else's field day experiences were. KJ4CMY, back to net.
Okay, thanks for that question, David. Yeah, I'm afraid I just plain missed it this year. I had some other things going on at that time, including some work things that just sort of had to get done. So I'm afraid I pretty much missed field day. Any other comments? Go ahead, Jim.
Try some new things I hadn't done before or hadn't done recently ham radio wise. So I did a lot of sideband, but I also did a bunch of digital, particularly PSK 31, which I hadn't done for a while and I'd always enjoyed. So it was great. Made a bunch of contacts, and it got me going in the digital thing again. So now I'm playing with FT8, and that's been a lot of fun so far. I made some nice, really DX contacts, Japan, Australia last night, and I'm also using that as my target to get the 13 Colonies event, which just started yesterday. So having lots of fun kind of rediscovering some of the digital things on ham radio side.
Yeah, that sounds good. I wish I had the time to jump into it and put some real effort into it, but it sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, having a good time with it. I've gotten 5 or 6 of the colonies already. I've got a few more to go, but then it's not 4th of July yet, so I've got time to work on it.
Yeah, it's coming up quick though.
Oh, Roger, that for sure. N4 BFR, back to you.
Okay, this is sort of a free-for-all net. Don't hesitate to just pop in here if you have something to add. KE4 FOV, net control.
N4WT.
Go ahead and move.
Fireworks go off and the dog goes crazy. What was I going to say? Oh, I got to go to a very good friend's home on Sunday, the last 2 hours, and made about 20 CW contacts. It was fun to get out, fun to get on the air, and fun to make some contacts. It's been a while. N4WP back in that.
Okay, yeah, and it's always more fun with a friend, isn't it?
Oh, roger that. Yeah, it's nice to be with a fellow ham and get back into a fun day. Really missed our usual activities with the grill outs and all the folks out there and all the extra antennas and in the open space. Hopefully we'll be able to do that again next year. Some of us somewhere, wherever that may be.
Net Sunday at 8 o'clock p.m.
Okay, well, I've been through my short list of comments here, so you guys help me out here. Start up another topic. Anybody have any questions about the club or the election or any of that sort of thing?
Well, Bert, this is Newt again. What are your thoughts on the election? Assuming we get a slate here, are we probably going to do maybe a Zoom meeting and try to vote somehow that way?
I've been thinking about some alternatives, but haven't figured out exactly what would be the best way. Certainly a Zoom meeting or even just a big conference call would be would probably work out. Zoom does let you have some additional things going on in the background other than just audio, so that might work out better. And since you brought up that particular issue, I guess we ought to be thinking about going forward. I don't know how long this COVID lockdown is. I mean, it's not nearly as bad a lockdown as it was, but it's still there, and we need to come up with a way to continue meeting in a meaningful way without having to fight the COVID issues. So anybody has any ideas other than go-to-meeting type thing, now's a good time to make some suggestions.
think I got it. So one of the things that I was considering for the election, and Bert, before I forget again, do need to get the latest member list from you guys. But before, just that's an aside, I didn't want to forget again. I'm part of a different club, and we had elections last night. One of the things we did was kind of a blind envelope piece where we had to go into a survey page and register, and only then could we get to the private survey, which would allow us to vote. So something like that, where we could see who voted but not how they voted, could be a good way to do it. So we can chat about that offline if you'd like to talk about that.
That's a good point. We do want this to be a legitimate election with without any kind of technical difficulty, so to speak. Okay, we're wide open here. Anybody got any other comments to make? Questions? Issues?
Yeah, I have one. There's one YouTube channel that I think we all should support, and that is Jim's N4BFR Vision. I would go ahead and recommend that everybody subscribe and put the notification on when Jim has a new video up. I want to help them as much as possible. Obviously, this is not going to be a huge club yet, but I would like to support it. KJ4 Simulcast.
BL146.2.
That's a good idea, David. I haven't looked at any of those YouTube videos recently. May as well get involved in it a little bit now.
Thank you, David. So just go to YouTube and search N4BFR Vision, and you can find not only this meeting that we're streaming right now, but how about the last couple of meetings as well that we did. There's recorded streams there, and a few other things that I've made along the way.
Anybody have any other topics for discussion? Please call now. KE4FOV. Are there any more check-ins now? Please call Net Control.
Bert, we've got Kilo Alpha 7 call, it looks like on Echo Link. I don't know if that amateur has checked in yet.
Okay, anybody who hasn't checked in, please, on air or Echo Link, please call now. This is KE4FOV Net Control. I think I doubled with you. Try again. Did anybody else catch that? I was getting very low audio. Okay, I can live with that. That's one of the things that makes ham radio interesting. I can recall sitting right here in my car, in the carport, my house in Decatur, and carrying on a conversation with somebody on 7.6 repeater in Pensacola, Florida. That was some weird ducting. I've only known that to happen quite like that one time. That was very interesting, though.
Seems to be what we're hearing right now is just, a little squelch tail, maybe from Birmingham or wherever. I haven't looked at the propagation today.
Yeah, that ducting is I've only found it happen that well that one time. But being from Pensacola, I actually knew some of the people I was listening to, so that was kind of interesting. No, it was working both directions. Yeah, it was some good, interesting conversation, and it lasted for about 15 minutes and then sort of faded out.
W4DOC repeater.
Okay, well, I'm about talked out unless anybody has any questions or additional comments. Well, on that note then, let's go ahead and close the net. Thank you for participating and joining the conversation. This is KE4FOV, Bert, net control, and at this point I will shut down the net, but feel free to stay on the air and make any comments that you might deem appropriate, and I'll be hanging around for a little while. This is KE4FOV.